My dear friends, it's good to see you. I'm Stephen Clements, a writer, a gamer, and an enjoyer of big brain activities in general. On this channel, I perform dramatic story readings, I provide role-playing game and movie reviews, and I get to talk to interesting people. And this is the final episode of our dramatic reading of The Story of an Interesting Person, Call Me Tennessee, by Jeff Klitzner. The first and only autobiography that I've edited. This look at the troubled life of Jeff Klitzner from his perspective. Oh, and if you've been entertained by this story along the way, please like and subscribe. Be sure to comment down below that you did enjoy this, and copies of this are available on Amazon, both in soft cover and in Kindle formats. And if in the future I ever put out a new edition of it, just let me know that you bought it and I will send you the PDF for free. And here in the last two chapters, and they're fairly short, we're going to wrap up what he wrote about his life, and there'll be a small coda at the end added by me. So last episode, Jeff went to New Zealand, hit a sheep, got deported, and wound up back in the States with yet more health issues, and homeboy can't catch a break because his stupidity keeps getting ahead of him. And now we come to chapter 36, Philosophy and Experiences. People ask, why don't you work anymore? It gets annoying trying to explain. I was meant for something better, and as far as I can tell, life goes haywire for me when I'm working. Money comes and goes, and the only truth that I've found in money is that it will get you stuff. Stuff that gets me into trouble, because I never know what to do with all the damn stuff. Stuff isn't important to me. Now, good friends and a purpose in life, what more could a man really ask for? Yeah, I know, house and car, and a wife with a pair of kids sounds good. Well, look, I'm not sure what life has in store for me. I never really cared what was up ahead or behind me. I've always just preferred to live for the moment, because it's all the same, only the names really change. I try not to make excuses for the way my life has gone, because then people think I'm upset with it all. I'm not. I've enjoyed my journey through the past 30-some-odd years, and I've made mistakes and paid dearly for them. I'm still standing firm that for being an outcast all my life, I lived a damn good life, and nobody can take that from me. I've got scars that tell stories people wish they had been present to see, while others cringe at the thought of the past. I'm the type of guy to send a blank resume to a company with a cover page and 2 blank sheets of paper, and then blame the company fax machine for it not turning out right. Why? To see their reaction, to see how they would react. And when they try to cover up the fact they didn't get the resume, it's party time. I would rather do nothing with the notion of purpose than work for no other purpose than doing nothing. Yes, it's true. Homeless people have come up to me and given me money, but I never asked. It's true. I would steal from my mother for a pack of cigarettes. After attending an alcohol awareness class as part of my probation, I realized that the only drug I'm addicted to is nicotine. As far as alcohol goes, while I don't know when to say when, I can go days, weeks, months, years without it. If you try to take my smokes, I will defend them like a she-gator protects her young'uns. I know my faults, and I have to live with them. People say change, but what they mean is conform. Conform isn't something I do well, because at the end of the day, when I go before God and try to defend my life, I don't want to use the excuse, well, so-and-so did it like this. That's a first-class ticket to hell. I prefer to say, yeah, I screwed up, and I'm sorry. I tried not to do it again, but, I tried to do right. But sometimes things don't go the way you planned them to. I've lived a life that allowed me to see all of humanity and made me proud that I was nothing like most people. The definition of crazy in my book is doing something over and over again and getting the same results without a logical explanation. My mistakes in life were often done at moments in time that my logic supported the mistakes. And even though I knew they were wrong, I knew that I had to scratch off the wrong answers so that the right ones would become apparent. This method might not work for everybody, but I don't let fear guide me through life. I don't fear death, nor do I fear life. Instead, I look forward to truth. While my methods broke laws, they led me towards the truth. And while I still consider my actions logical, despite the fact they were and are illegal, I do not let the laws of man act as guides for me to follow. I never have and never will, for they are flawed just as men. Therefore, they don't really apply towards me deciding what I can and can't do. The punishment must outweigh the benefits. But most of the time in most countries, they don't. If you tell me selling drugs was wrong because you can go to jail, well, I'll keep selling drugs because jail doesn't scare me. It's one of those places I'd prefer not to go, but I can make it work for me, so why should I fear it? Now, if you tell me selling crack is wrong because somebody might die from overdosing, I agree with you. And if I ever sold crack, I would stop. At the same time, if my life depended on selling and nobody would die from it as a direct result of me selling it to them, then damn right I'd move a kilo or two and move on with my life. People say you can't live with anarchy, but that depends on the people, really. Most people are like sheep and will just do whatever it is they are told to do so that they can have food, clothing, shelter, and whatever else floats their boats. I believe in self-reliance, but sometimes you have a skill set that allows you to barter your way through life. I can build my own house in the woods, I can hunt the same woods for food, I can sew my own clothes, but a good conversation with like-minded people happens to float my boat a little more than self-reliance does. I crave interaction with people, despite sometimes not wanting to talk to people. It's only natural to seek interaction. Even if the reaction you seek is, get away from me, it's still a reaction. Otherwise, people would go off into the woods, and it would be like a tree falling where nobody could hear it. It wouldn't matter. It's hard to tell people to be self-reliant in a city. It just is in a village mentality. Self-reliance is selfish. In the woods by yourself, that's called survival. It just so happens you can survive in a village as well, but you must rely on others, the same as a big businessman relies on the value of money versus the value of what he gets for it. To call him self-reliant because he has money is just foolish. To call him self-reliant because he is broke is a step up from foolish, but still not wise. To judge a man on money is foolish. To judge him based on position is just as foolish. Now, is it wrong to cast judgment upon others? No! It is, however, wrong to hold that judgment when you are proven wrong. That is what makes you an asshole. This troubles me in the era when people have no real sense of what's right or wrong, only what's legal and what's illegal, or is it popular versus uncool. I myself will admit that what works for me won't work for others, and what works for them doesn't work for me. I'm different, some people say, that I think outside the box. That's not true. I think around the box. Sometimes in, sometimes out, sometimes on the border, but the difference in my thought process is I recognize the box, but don't acknowledge the box has any value other than its own inherent values. Meaning, if you put something in the box that is bigger than the box, I don't see how the box does any good, other than to say it's too small for my purposes. I would much rather each person in the world have their own set of values and adhere to them than have a bunch of preset values for everyone that nobody can adhere to. To say my actions always adhere to my values would be a lie, but to say most of the time my actions and my values have been in line would be fairly accurate. If you don't live your life for yourself, what's the point? Don't go out on a limb and think I just said you shouldn't give a damn about other people. What I said was, don't live your life for others. If living your life in the service of others makes you happy, go for it. I take the good, the bad, and the ugly known as life, but that doesn't mean I have to like it, nor do I accept it. I will fight the man because I'm not the man, and until I become the man, we will both be thorns in each other's sides. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I hate all political parties because they have the power to take the power from the people. What makes a man has nothing to do with wealth, station, or the size of his guns, but rather his own personal worth and character. Some people will say my actions in life have shown me to be of a lesser breed of man, but they would be wrong. I have only ever claimed to be a survivalist. I do what it takes to survive in the world we live in, where morals have no meaning, people care nothing for human life, nor do they understand the pursuit of knowledge. So who the hell are they to call me a lesser man? I hold firm to my belief that my quest for a sense of purpose and meaning behind actions past, present, and future will give me closure and the ability to determine the best path for my own destiny. Despite the obstacles that will surely come, I shall continue to confront them head on because I don't acknowledge any man's authority over my own will to live a life in the manner that gives me the most sense of purpose. Regardless of how many obstacles life throws at me, I'll keep ducking, dodging, diving, and fighting all the challenges life has to offer, one after the next. You can say what you want about my first 30 years, but what the hell have you done with your life? I've been there and done that. I crossed off my bucket list before I reached 27. So you can take your criticism of me and shove it. They call me Jeff, but my name is Tennessee. Yeah. Chapter 37. A special thank you. I would like to thank a variety of people for numerous things over the years, and in no particular order. To put them in an order would be strange, for each of you have helped me so much over the years, and to rank it would be a disservice to what you've meant to me. To protect the innocent, and because I'm not sure if you'd want your names attached to this story for various reasons, I'll be using first names and nicknames. To Keese, Dave, Wilson, Joe, Todd, Niece, Merrill, Mary, Joanne, Tyler, Mikey, Davis, Rooney, Sammy, Dennis, Kim, Ace, K-Flex, Albert, Tony, Donna, Nikki, Lana, Jorge, Pencilneck, Buster, Oleg, Hope, Julie, Joan, Willie, John, Mark, Jackie, and Romeo, thanks for showing me the ropes and lights of the town. To Shane, Blake, Scott, Carlos, Matt, Juan, Lorenzo, Clarence, Vlad, Ree, Wendell, Moondog, Fing, and Trey, you guys helped me in ways that few would understand unless they were there, and you trusted me with many things. I owe a small part of what's left of my life to you guys. To Bob, Lunchbox, John, Joel, Richard, Thomas, Grimace, Sung Ji, Jacob, Adrian, Wally, Dave, Rhonda, Cooper, and Mika, you all got my back and saved my life at least once. For that, others will probably blame you for keeping me alive, but I, for one, thank you. Anywhere, anytime, anybody, just say the words and it's done. To John and Max, thanks so much for everything over the years. Max, you shouldn't read this for a couple more years, but all the same, thank you. To Leslie, Antonia, Maria, Yale, Efrat, Mia, Hope, Moran, Stacy, Leonora, Jackie, Dawn, Joanna, Jessica, Avery, Natasha, Nicole, and Lisa. Ladies, your friendship meant more to me than anything else over the years. No matter what, I respected all of you for who you were, and I learned more about me because of you. I love you all, even if I didn't always show it. To Congo, my oldest, wisest, and most trusted friend. Without you, none of this would have been possible. Remember, they will come in masses from your left. To Dan, Shimon, Simcha, Shmuel, Danny, Ezra, John, Levi, Nathan, Ephraim, and Benny Moskowitz, thanks for helping me find the balance in life I searched so hard for, and for being good men in times like these. We all need more men of high character in this world. To Quattro, Jeff, Dennis, Eric, Tom, Layla, Angela, Megan, Kyle, Rodney, Casey, Kenny, Droopy, Dwight, Trey, and Erica. We had some fun, didn't we? It could have been worse, but somehow we are all still here. To Scott, Dennis, Candace, Amy, Roger, Margaret, Bianca, Amanda, and Henry, you guys were the best and taught me lessons in telling a story through words and pictures. Without you guys, I would have had to draw this whole thing in crayons. To Mrs. Meeks, thank you for calling me an illiterate prick in class. I do apologize for not reading Every Man, but because of you, I went on to find a way to light some fires and scribble furiously towards a diploma or two and prove a bunch of people wrong. To all my cousins and extended family, you all have always been an inspiration in one way or another. Without you, I never would have made it to this point in my life. I would also like to thank my parents for finding a way to screw up my head enough in the developmental stages that as I aged, I was able to understand this cruel and twisted world, and also for teaching me the true meaning of insanity. I would like to thank Todd and Rachel and the kids. You guys are family to me, and without y'all, I'd be sitting on a roof somewhere, howling at the moon, trying to find a way to express the anxiety and frustration of my past transgressions. Only through honesty and love can we find the true path to happiness. To the Canadian goddess, I remember her. She was hot. And you know who you are. You were the best part of my day on many a dark day, when only the light of your beauty could dispel the clouds that covered my heart. I can't help but wonder about you. I still stand in awe before your beauty. I would have put you in the book, but to protect your virtue, I opted to only mention you now. To my future ex-wife, Lindsay Lohan, you ought to know I never believed the rumors, even on that cold January morning when we first met. Having all the eyes on you when you walk into a room, trying to live up to the expectations of being the life of the party, I knew it wasn't easy. It never is, but sometimes you just have to say, fuck it, and go for the gold. Never look back. Don't ever look back. It shows a guilty conscience. Instead, admit your mistakes and move forward, for you need not be ashamed of your past. The only people ashamed of their past are those who consider themselves to be perfect, and those people are the ones with the darkest pasts. If you ever need a life coach or just to talk like we used to, by all means, call me Tennessee at 901-634-2132. I've been there and done that. Don't worry, I got your back. Also, to all my friends who are no longer with me, keep on rocking in the free world. Now, this one goes out to America, the land of the free and home of the brave. Only in such a place can people of all nations collide, and true, your people look to money like the Egyptians looked to Ra, Horus, Isis, Anubis, Seth, Hathor, Amun, and Geb. But it is still one of the places God had found a way to bless with some of the most majestic-looking places on earth. For only in this country can men not be found guilty on the ramblings of a madman and suspicions alone. Yes, in America, the presumed status is that of innocent, placing the burden of truth on the government. True, it makes it hard for real justice to be served, but nonetheless, it's better than a place like Russia, where billions of dollars can't even buy you a trial. Yes, I would like to thank the US of A for being a constant pest in the butt of the free peoples of China, North Korea, Colombia, Cuba, Venezuela, Pakistan, Indonesia, Sudan, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, the UAE, Libya, Qatar, Mexico, Syria, Lebanon, Middle Earth, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Yemen, Oman, and all the breakaway Russian republics. Yes, just to spite your enemies around the world, you pretend to be friends with those hardline socialist governments in Canada, England, France, Germany, and Portugal, to name a few. In truth, you're awaiting in the darkness to strike like a cobra at your true foes, the Greeks, Romans, and the citizens of Madagascar, for they are inherently evil beings. While it is true we still use the death penalty only in America, it is also true that the Supreme Court has upheld the rights of a suspected murderer to murder those coming to place him under false arrest. Only in America can you move about freely from one city to the next one, and find they have different laws that nobody seems to follow. I know it's rough that in America we let women drive, unlike other Middle Eastern countries. We just assume that their lack of male genitalia has nothing to do with their sense of direction or ability to place a foot down on a pedal or two, or three. While it is true our kids are often undernourished, we don't force them to enlist in an army to get fed UN rice. I must give credit where credit is due. Had it not been for a bunch of slave-owning, treasonous drunks who didn't like paying taxes, we would probably still be a colony. While our revolution helped to bring down an empire, it was the French and Russian revolutions that taught the world how to bring down a monarchy and all those that supported the monarchs. While we have fought a few wars inside of our own borders, it has been a while since our army has opened fire upon our own citizens. While it's been a few years since a vice president has been challenged to a duel over his own personal political views, at least we don't regularly kill the next in line to remind the next in line who is in the front of the line. Yet still, it is a rare sight to see citizens dragged out of their homes, beaten and raped for holding hands with a male not in her own family at the age of 9. Oh wait, my bad. That example isn't fair. Because while she is a citizen, she is still property of her father. Upon reaching the age of 12, she can be sold to a gentleman as a wife. Then she is his property, and upon the age of 16, he can legally throw her on the streets without a dime because she no longer pleases him in the marital bedroom. Like I said, that's just a bad example. Perhaps we can look at another country to show us the way. How about China? Nope, that one won't work either. Because there, if she has already had a child, she is forced to have an abortion or allow a local party official to determine her fate, which requires a bribe or sexual favors. That's also not the worst thing that could happen. If you and your wife were to get pregnant and then apply for the special birth permit, both would be either spayed or neutered after said abortion. And wait, I forgot. That's if you're lucky enough to not be executed by the state. Well, it might be that in America, they force you to get some sort of basic education that allows most of its citizens to be, well, functionally illiterate. I mean, it's not like China or India, where according to the test results from universities, the children are better educated. Did anybody else stop to ask how the kids have time to study when they are working legally at any age for less than the price of a donut in most countries? Could it be that the only children who are afforded the opportunity to learn how to read and write are from the haves and not the have-nots? I mean, it's not like they give a test to every 10-year-old in their countries to test their reading levels. What would happen if we only used the surveys of college graduates to determine the literacy rate in America? At least people in America don't up and decide to protest high gas taxes by blowing up gas stations. Or every time the government runs out of money to just start printing 100 won counterfeit bills, or just whenever we wanted our money to be worth more, we start selling counterfeit $100 bills to other countries to lower the value of the dollar. I mean, that would have to be in a country run by gangsters, or a short dictator with a stable of sex slaves. Yes, America may be full of capitalists with no regard for human life, but I mean, it's not like we continue to sell poison toys, lead paint, toxic drywall, contaminated baby formula, toothpaste with antifreeze in it, poisoned dog food, tainted seafood, or prescription drugs with added chemicals to our trading partners. Just out of curiosity, where do those products go when American and European governments inform the uneducated Chinese government that the products are bad? I get the strange feeling they still get sold or are used as tax write-offs in other countries. Now, everybody would like to blame America for these problems. Me, I'm funny about this type of thing. I don't blame the government, but more the ideology of its people that decided for quantity over quality. Then I like to blame the people who manipulated the media and government officials to influence the poor people to buy the products. This is not to place the blame on rich and poor people, and the blame is not on the uneducated people or educated people. The blame is completely upon the people who buy the products thinking, if it's cheaper, it must be better. The people who can't see the difference in whether they buy American or buy Walmart. This is their problem. That's right. The people who are really to blame are the consumers who work for the corporations who opt to sell products that they buy from countries where people still die from the plague. Think about that the next time you go grocery shopping. Do you really want to buy lettuce from Mexico? Do you have any idea what kind of pesticides the growers use, or have any faith in that government that randomly has prison guards staging prison breaks to let drug dealers and pimps go free for a small fee? Do you really trust that many people? I sure as hell don't. Think for a minute or two every time you pick a product up and ask yourself if you're sure about eating that or wearing clothing from that store. America is the greatest country on earth. Therefore, everybody is out to get us. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo! Yeah, I fight the man at every turn. But the real question is, why aren't you? Whose side are you on? At the end of the day, you know damn well I'm right. But who am I? Yeah, that's right. Just a guy that when he looks at the world and sees it for what it is, it makes me want a cold beer and a joint to forget the fact I'm probably alone in this cruel, unforgiving world. I'm American by birth, but Tennessean by the grace of God. And that ends Jeff Klitzner's story. Because on August 18th, 2011, he was found dead in that quasi-abandoned apartment that he was staying in with Lunchbox. I heard about it at work. Broke down crying. And my boy Joe Tate asked me what he could do for me. I said, just get me out of here, man. Because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was crying uncontrollably. Everybody's going to ask questions. Just walk in front of me till I could get out the door to my car. I could not stay there. And I was up in Nashville at the time. Jeff was back in Memphis. He had recovered from the foot injury from climbing the fence. And me and the wife rushed down there to be with Lunchbox, be with the family, be with friends. All of whom knew Jeff well. We had all partied together. We had lived together. We were our own little dysfunctional family. And that also coincided with the time that I was going to be headed down there for a book signing of Call Me Tennessee at the Starbucks, where he liked to hang out right next to the train tracks on Poplar Avenue. And that party hit a lot different. There wasn't a whole lot of sleep that night. There was a lot of upset people. And with the sleep deprivation running strong through me, I got to give the eulogy at his service in the Jewish cemetery on Democrat Road. And while his rabbi got up and gave a speech that he just read off of a piece of paper, where it sounded like he didn't really care about Jeff, he didn't know Jeff, I got up there and I gave a hellfire and brimstone, come to God speech to the congregation, using Jeff's life as a way of framing it, because he was a failure of a man, and those in attendance, this was your sign, get right with God. He was the first of my best friends to die on me in Memphis. And it's unclear to me exactly what killed him. I suspect it's probably an overdose of some type, because anything he'd get his hands on he would do. But it is entirely possible that with all the abuse he'd heaped on his body over the years, his body just gave out. And so I've gone to visit his grave a number of times. I'm the one who took the pictures that are in the back of the book. So if you ever want to stop by his grave and pour one out for homeboy, then I'll drop the address in the description below. And I remember it was just a few days before I was set to go down for the book signing. While he was still alive, we were chatting, Can't remember if it was on the phone or through instant messenger. And he had this weird tone. So it was unlike any I'd heard out of him before. It was expectant, but he wouldn't say what he was expecting. But I had a sense what he was expecting. He was expecting to die some way. And if he did it right before the book signing, maybe in some twisted logic, that would explode the book sales. And I don't know what the payoff was he thought he was going to get from that, because I owned the rights to the thing. We had it 50-50. And so with his death and no one having claimed his estate, all the rights are mine. Even though I did get this nasty call from Minda's lawyer one time, making sure that I was aware that Minda expected her fair share of jack and shit. She didn't file for the estate because then she'd be open to claims by all the creditors that he had. But that would have given her the right to get into his lockbox at the bank. And it's possible old Jeff had a stash of gold and big old piles of bills in there. But I didn't file for it. She didn't file for it. And so if anybody out there knows what happened to the mythical lost gold of Jeff Klitzner, let me know. I ain't going to claim it. I just want to know if it's true or not. Yeah, I told the lawyer to go pound sand. So I don't know. Was he trying to leave me with some sort of windfall of sales after his death? That is not the kind of gift I wanted. I would have much rather had my best friend. I mean, at one point, we were blitzed off our asses in the fire demon's apartment watching The Mummy when both of us realized simultaneously that we are in fact a 3-in-1. Kind of similar in concept to God, Son, Holy Ghost, though we're not blaspheming that. But me, him, and Brendan Fraser, we're in fact the same person. How do we know that? Subjective experience told us that was true. And Brendan, if you're watching this somehow, well, you already know. But now you know who the other two people are that you were connected to. And I would say we're down to just one. But if me and Jeff are the same person, then Jeff's still here. And what am I supposed to do with that?